playing to win. That's what we do here.
We have to approach it like a completely different game.
We're trying to create a culture about winning.
Following a phenomenal season of Pac-12 football, only 2 teams remain. The resilient Stanford Cardinals battering their way into national prominence. And the resurgent UCLA Bruins playing with a newfound toughness and grit. Critics and foes doubted both, yet the Cardinal and Bruins delivered, destroying national title dreams and crushing arch rivals. For last Saturday, the Cardinals crashed a Pasadena party to become kings of the North Division and bring this winner-take-all title tilt to Palo Alto. But that was then. This is now. Round 2 for the Pac-12 championship. Round 2 for the Rose Bowl. UCLA, Stanford. Round 2, next on Fox. Welcome to Stanford Stadium on a perfect night for college football. It's cold, it's windy, and it feels like it's been raining for 2 years, and we're ready for the Pac-12 championship game as 16th-ranked UCLA prepares to take on the 8th-ranked Cardinals of Stanford.
Welcome to Stanford Stadium, home of the 2012 Pac-12 championship game. It's time now to meet the teams who will compete in today's game. First, let's meet the Pac-12 North champion, Stanford Cardinal.
When you play for Stanford,
you make a commitment.
A commitment to your teammates.
You don't feel no better than this.
A commitment to the brother next to you.
Wow, what a play. Touchdown, Cardinal!
Because during the course of a football season, all we got is each other. Even when we came up short.
Notre Dame stops it.
We picked ourselves up.
What a moment for this program. The Cardinal have beaten the Ducks.
Because win or lose, there's no quit in this team. Because at Stanford,
Expectations are always high.
and tonight,
Our season comes down to this.
Touchdown! Game over!
we will host our first ever Pac-12 championship game.
Because what better place to keep the roses?
Then on the farm. We are champions of the Pac-12 North.
Stanford wins!
We are the Stanford Cardinal.
And now, let's meet the Pac-12 South Division champion UCLA Bruins from Westwood, California.
We are the sons of Westwood, the UCLA Bruins. We are proud.
We are proud of our football heritage.
As golden as our famous helmets.
We play Saturdays at the Rose Bowl.
But our ultimate goal is to play in the Rose Bowl.
It's been a long time coming for the Bruins.
We may be young, but it is our toughness
That defines us. They call us a rematch.
but we see it as redemption.
Touchdown! UCLA!
Tonight, our legacy begins. Our goals are right in front of us. To win our first Pac-12 championship game.
This is a new era.
Of UCLA football. UCLA football. We are the champions of the Pac-12 South.
The UCLA Bruins clinch the South title.
We are the mighty Bruins.
We are UCLA.
In only his 4th start, redshirt freshman Kevin Hogan has a chance to lead the Stanford Cardinal to the Rose Bowl. A lot of pressure on the young Virginian. Ladies and gentlemen, Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome American Idol finalist and international recording artist, Pia Toscano.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Welcome back to the Pac-12 championship game. UCLA ready to take on 8th-ranked Stanford. Moments ago, Rick Hoyland, a 27-year UPS driver, delivering the Pac-12 championship game ball. Game ball delivery brought to you by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. Now, last week, 35-17, Stanford defeated UCLA at the Rose Bowl, clinching the North Division title by winning its 6th straight game and beating its 3rd-ranked team in the last 3 weeks. What changes for UCLA as they approach this championship game?
I think most people look at it as that Stanford dominated them over the last 3 quarters of the game, and they don't see how UCLA can pull this off. Here's what they're missing. Brand new head coach in Jim Mora. What he brings in terms of spirit, what he brings in terms of tenacity, they will jump up and fight tonight.
Time now for the coin toss. Let's go to referee Sean Hockley.
Gentlemen, congratulations and welcome to the Pac-12 championship. UCLA, you're the visitor. You're going to call the toss. That's a head. That's a tails. Heads, tails. What's your call?
Heads.
He's called heads. Heads is the call. It is a heads. You have won the toss.
We want the ball.
You'd like to receive. Which way would you like to kick? Kick that way. Put your backs to your goals, please, men. UCLA has won the toss and is elected to receive on this end. Good luck, gentlemen.
So coming up, it's the Pac-12 championship, the rematch. Stanford, UCLA. Jim Moore and his boys playing for a trip back home and the Roses. Welcome back, and we're ready for the opening kickoff of the Pac-12 championship game. But first, let's go down the sideline to Julie Alexandria.
Thanks, Gus. Well, there's a light mist here on the field, but there's a lot of rain predicted in the forecast. Stanford tarped their field for the first time in stadium history, and Coach Mora has some of his players wearing gloves so they get a better grip on the ball in wet conditions. Rain can be a very interesting equalizer, so we'll see what happens. Petros, hope you're staying dry on the other sideline.
I'm okay down here, and let's talk about it. This could be a mud wrestle, a fist fight. Stanford is the most physical team in the country. They've dominated the line of scrimmage in every game they've played this year, except for Notre Dame. Jim Mora knows that his team is going to have to match that physicality, and his best player, Jonathan Franklin, going to have a lot more than the 65 yards he had last week, guys.
All right, Petros, Jim Mora, 51 years old in his first year at UCLA. What has he done? A 9-3 record and the South Division title. On the other sideline, 40-year-old David Shaw, just named the Pac-12 Coach of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. He brings in a 10-2 record. Stanford sends it away. Devin Fuller. Randall Goforth back deep. Here's Devin Fuller bringing it out of the end zone. And Fuller muscled down at the 14-yard line. Cody make that James Valters with the tackle. So that brings on the young quarterback for UCLA. Brett Hundley, last week against Stanford, 20 of 38, 261, a touchdown. However, Charles Davis, he was sacked a season-high 7 times.
Loves to make plays from the pocket. Tonight, should not hesitate to use the nice legs that he has, the athletic ability that he has, to break, contain, and try and sting Stanford running the football.
First down and 10 at the 15-yard line. And they'll swing it out to Jonathan Franklin. Franklin with running room. Franklin up the sideline, and he gets to the 22. Jordan Richards with the tackle. And that brings us to tonight's Impact Play.
For UCLA, Jonathan Franklin, the all-time leading rusher at UCLA. He will touch it off in tonight. Joseph Fourier, a matchup nightmare at tight end. Eric Kendricks, snubbed for first or second team all Pac-12. And Anthony Barr, one of the leading sack guys in the country.
And here's Jonathan Franklin running it up the middle, but nothing going. Henry Anderson, the redshirt sophomore from Atlanta, making the tackle. And UCLA back to the line of scrimmage quickly.
They like to play at a faster pace. They like to keep the tempo going. They strive for 18 seconds per snap. But in recent games, it's been closer to 30 seconds every time they snap the ball.
Jordan James, the third down back, comes in. He's in motion on 3rd down and 4. Hundley to the sideline, caught, and first down. How about that? Young Devin Fuller with the reception.
Devin Fuller, number 2, to the left side of your screen. He came to UCLA to be a quarterback. Wanted to be the next Michael Vick, and knew that Jim Moore had coached Mike Vick in Atlanta. But after this season started to develop and UCLA got a little short at receiver, they flipped him over to that spot, and he's performed well.
On first down, Franklin with running room, and Jonathan Franklin still going. And he hops and gets close to the first down. Henry Anderson grabbed him, but that's an 11-yard gain.
And Petros talked about in the beginning of the game how Stanford's the most physical team in the country, and UCLA will have to match that. That run by Jonathan Franklin is an early sign that UCLA plans to be up to the task. That run should have been stopped after about 5 yards. He turned into a physical run close to a first down.
And this time, UCLA will lose yardage again. Henry Anderson with the tackle. Rushing yards allowed this season, 71 per, 3rd in the nation last year. So that brings up 3rd down and 1.
They just moved the chains, though. That was an odd deal. It looked like he was short. The chains got moved, and I haven't seen it flip to 3rd down yet. It still says 2nd down on the chains.
So make it 2nd down and 10. Here's Hundley on the play fake. And
they were blowing that play dead as it developed.
For the snap, the previous play is under further review. Before the snap, there was no play. The ruling on the field was that the previous play was first down.
See, they've got to go back and take a look, because it looked like he was caught short of the line of scrimmage on that run. But then the chains moved, and when they moved the chains, it still said 2nd down. It couldn't be 2nd and 10 there. It was either 3rd and short or 1st and 10. See, here's the play. There's no way he made the line of scrimmage on that play. That's why it's being challenged in review. They're going to have to go back now, and that becomes a 3rd down play, because there's no way he got to the first down marker.
so some early confusion. How about what David Shaw has been able to do with this Stanford football team? Only 40 years old. In his 2nd year, 21-4 overall.
And he was a wide receiver in college. We talked about this in a previous game, but he calls the game with an offensive line coach's mentality and still has that wide receiver in him where he wants to take the dagger shots downfield. But he'd rather beat up, bludgeon you, lean on you for 4 quarters, and establish his team as one of those teams you don't want to mess with. Here's another look at the play. Okay, look at the top part of your screen. All right, there's the tackle. Up here's the marker. All right, no way he got there. So we've got to get back to third down on that one. I mean, they can't award a first down on a play where he doesn't gain yardage. And we talk about the pedigree of...
We were checking ball placement from the previous play. The previous play resulted in a first down. It is 2nd and 11 from the 35.5-yard line.
So that's where we've got it. See, we're going back now. The play before should have been a first down, and they didn't move the chains. All right, when they moved it, they still said 2nd down. So now you go back. Fuller's catch gave him the first down. So now you go back. Now we've got first down. Everything's corrected. Sean Hockley, our referee, the good thing is he comes out and gives us a full explanation when he gets on the mic. Lets us know what's going on.
So now that they've sorted it out, 2nd down and 11. For the UCLA Bruins, Jonathan Franklin, Jordan James in the backfield with Brett Hundley. Here's Hundley, quick strike. Shaq Evans. And Shaq Evans gets to the 41. And he'll gain about 4 on the play.
Seeing a lot of slipping already in this game. I was down on the field pregame and felt like the track was pretty good. Julie Alexandria said they'd had the field tarped. But I'm seeing officials slipping, players slipping on cuts early. Let's keep an eye on this as this develops and even cools off even more.
3rd down and 6 at the 40. Fuller in motion. Here's Hundley. In the flats, once again, Jonathan Franklin. And he'll pick up the first down. Plus a couple. And now we're already, early on in this game, seeing the adjustments from UCLA offensively.
We know Brett Hundley eventually will use his legs, but tonight they want to get the ball to Jonathan Franklin in space. All right, he had a tough time running it between the tackles last game against Stanford. Get him out in open space, let him go one-on-one with a defender towards the sideline.
So first down at the 49, opening drive for UCLA. Franklin now between the tackles, Jonathan Franklin at the 30. He turns on the speed. Touchdown, Bruins! 51 yards. Let's get this shit down. Let's go. Jonathan Franklin, just named 2nd team All Pac-12. He's a finalist for the Doak Walker Award along with Kenyon Barner and Monty Ball. He came into this game 18 yards away from passing Maurice Jones-Drew's school record for all-purpose yards, and he did it right there.
And they're reviewing to see if he got there for the touchdown. Forearm is down before the ball crosses the plane. They called touchdown on the field. I'm not sure you're going to overturn that, as he was falling into the end zone. And what happened on this play, Gus, what you talked about with the adjustment, where they started to go wide with Jonathan Franklin. How many times did they hit wide? 2, 3 times. They moved the defense just enough to create the crease, allowed the blockers to find their gap. See, as he's going down, falling into the end zone, it was ruled touchdown. I think it'll be difficult to come back and say that he was down short of the end zone. We talked about adjustments and tweaks. We're seeing it right now. You see Noel, who has formed a terrific bond with Brett Hundley, the young quarterback. Mike Pereira, did you get a look at that one? I say that it's going to be hard to do it.
Stands as called. It is a touchdown.
All right, we didn't need Mike Pereira, but I'm sure we will need him a little bit later on. So Jonathan Franklin with the touchdown to give UCLA a 6-0 lead. Franklin with 8 100-yard games this season. And here's Fairbairn in to attempt the extra point, and it's good. 11:35 to play in the first quarter of the Pac-12 championship, and UCLA strikes first on their opening drive. The Mayor, Pater. Welcome back. Jonathan Franklin leading UCLA on an 8-play, 85-yard drive. And Mike Pereira, your thoughts on this touchdown?
Well, I'll tell you, it's really close in my book, and I like close staying with the call, but interesting replay being used twice already in the first series. Everybody was confused on the down. Jim Mora even thought it was second down, thought it was second and short because the chains didn't move, but it worked out where it didn't hurt him.
Jeff Locke sending it away, and this will be Wright bringing it out of the end zone. And Wright with running room gets to the 30, up to the 32-yard line. A terrific run for Stanford, and that brings out the Virginian. Kevin Hogan, redshirt freshman from McLean, Virginia, last week against UCLA. 15 of 22, 160 yards, and a touchdown. He was sacked twice, but here's a man that can really get out of the pocket and make things happen.
And because of his ability to do so, Stanford can now attack the entire field with their offense. They're now looking like the Stanford offense that they had visions of in preseason.
Hogan has beaten 3 ranked teams, Oregon State, Oregon, and last week, UCLA in his first 3 starts. First down and 10 at the 31. Here's a handoff. Stephon Taylor lowers his shoulder, and he'll get a yard. And that brings us to the impact players.
And for the Stanford Cardinal, marvelous season. Stephon Taylor, he'll get a lot of work tonight, already handled on the first play. Zach Ertz, All-American tight end. David Yankee, a hybrid offensive lineman, can play tackle, guard, tight end. And Ben Gardner's had a terrific year at defensive end, their best rush down lineman.
David Yankee, first team All Pac-12, second and 9 at the 32, along with Zach Ertz. Hogan finds Taylor in the flats. Taylor, power running, picks up the first down as Tevin McDonald throws himself under the chariot.
And how about David Shaw and his play callers, essentially taking a page from Noel Mazzoni's book of UCLA. They got Stephon Taylor swinging to the side, out in space, get the ball to him, let him do his work, and pick up the first down.
Pep Hamilton, their offensive coordinator, first down and 10 at the 41 after the 9-yard gain. Hewitt and Taylor in a tight-eye formation. Play fake. Hogan, all day to throw it. Lets it fly and caught. Maybe a yard gain for Zach Ertz. And stopped on the play by Eric Kendricks. Kendricks, honorable mention, All Pac-12, and I'm sure he's going to take it out on somebody.
The guy leads the Pac-12 in tackles, had 127 tackles on the season, had 15 last week against Stanford. Yet he's not first or second team All Pac-12. I think he's going to try and prove something this evening.
Second down and 8 at the 43. Hewitt and Taylor. They've got Stephon Taylor, the single setback. They give it to him straight ahead. Nothing. Great penetration by Dayton Jones. Third team All Pac-12 for the senior from Compton.
Take a look at what happened here. They tried to spread them out, but right in the interior, the one-on-one battles that you have to win, Dayton Jones does that. Just beats them inside clearly on his move. Number 73, Cameron Fleming couldn't handle it. He gets to the backfield for another tackle for loss. On his career, Dayton Jones, that's his 34th.
Makes it a third down and 9 at the 42. Opening drive for Stanford. UCLA defensively with a chance to send a message right here. And Hogan wants to run. Hogan, nice move! And Hogan picks up the first down. He sends his own message. Odigizua with the tackle. But on third and 9, they get 13.
How about at the mesh point between quarterback and running back? This is where the play happened because Hogan has to read it. See that? He sees Kelsey Young.
Kevin Hogan averaging 4.5 yards per carry as a quarterback in 4 games. Now the handoff, Taylor, and pushed by Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr, former running back, what a season he's had. Recently earned first team All Pac-12. Violent tackler.
And he was a running back, so he's used to going forward. So what was his best attribute as a defensive player, as a linebacker? Again, going forward, rushing the passer, 12 sacks on the season.
Second down and 5 at the 40. Stephon picking his way. And Taylor will pick up about 3.5. Eric Kendricks there defensively.
Gus, you know what I'm noticing early with Stanford? A myriad of offensive sets and formations early. We'll see them packed in tight with extra offensive linemen. Then they'll spread things out and bring the wide receivers into play. We've seen quarterback run game. We've seen Stephon Taylor. We've seen the quarterback swing it out to Taylor and out the backfield, hitting them at all angles early.
Makes it 3rd down and 2. Ball at the 37. Now they run the option. Taylor. Can he get there to be close? Eric Kendricks there to usher him out of bounds.
And if Taylor got this first down, he got it with the move in open field. Watch on the option. Right here. Look at the number 40, Damian Holmes. He's got to play here because he goes past Hewitt. But look, open field, freezes him, and gets there. The bump to the sideline may have stopped him short, but a good run, a power run by Stephon Taylor. Looks like 4th and short coming up.
Stanford elected to go for it on 4th down and inches. Hogan handing it to Hewitt. He'll fall forward. Ryan Hewitt and pick up the first down.
How many different looks do they have that scream power coming at you? That's the thing about Stanford. They have so many different looks that scream power. So you know what that means in this game? They're going to come with one of those looks, and it's going to turn into a pass, and they're going to take a shot downfield.
I thought it was interesting yesterday when you were talking to the coaches, Charles. They said to you, you know, we showed a lot of different looks, but we ran the same play about 20 times.
All it is dressing it up in different wrappings, different looks, and running the same things that work for you.
First down to the 34, play fake, Hogan, deep drop, looking. Now he'll check down to Stephon Taylor. And Taylor picks up a first down and more. Taylor at the 10. Taylor leads forward and goes all the way down to the 2. A 32-yard gain for Stephon Taylor, the senior captain from Mansfield, Texas.
And you know what's discouraging for UCLA? One, Cassius Marsh has an opportunity to get him down early, doesn't get him. But the big one was Stanford took that shot downfield. They wanted it. Looked deep, didn't have it. The check down to Stephon Taylor because it was covered so well by UCLA, yet it turned into a mammoth play for Stanford. UCLA covered it perfectly, yet Stanford solved it anyway.
On the season, Taylor has rushed for over 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. Now he lines up first down and goal at the 1. Hewitt and Taylor in the I formation. And here's Hogan on a bootleg. Fooled everybody. Touchdown Cardinals. And that's what he brings to the table for this Stanford team.
Because they established Stephon Taylor. You know he's the number 1 threat, but look here. This is all offensive linemen and tight ends with an I backfield. So everyone's thinking, here comes Taylor, the normal power. Aaron Wallace, number 12, never even checks on the quarterback. He goes right for the tailback. He's not there because Hogan has the football and walks in.
So the Virginian gives Stanford their first 7 points of the game. So we are tied here in the first quarter. A 4th down conversion, successful for Kevin Hogan and the Stanford Cardinals. And then he walks into the end zone on a bootleg. Our score tied at 7. Very similar to last week's game. Each team scoring on their opening drive. Devin Fuller. And Devin Fuller in the 20. And he gets up to the 23. Now let's Take a look at tonight's 4 keys to the game.
You know, for UCLA, it's when they happen, meaning penalties. They're the worst in the league in penalties, and Jim Mora, the head coach, isn't concerned about them, but he's concerned when they stop drives. For Stanford, work the body, kid. Can't you hear it from the Rocky movie? Can't you hear Mickey telling him, work the body? That's what Stanford does. Body blows all game long, try and bludgeon you in the run game and get it to the fourth quarter where you just won't be as sharp.
Brett Hundley and the Bruins first down and 10 at their own 25. Play fake, they swing it out. Jordan James, and Jordan James will pick up 7.5. So there's a big adjustment. They're getting these tailbacks out in the flats and getting them one-on-one with some linebackers.
And they're waiting for Stanford to make a move to adjust before they go away from it. See, sometimes offensive coordinators, and Noel Mazzoni's not one of them, their ego gets involved. They have a big play sheet. We got to call everything on my sheet. Noel Mazzoni's seeing something that works and continues to come back to it until he sees Stanford adjust, and then he'll make an adjustment on his calls.
Second down and short. Bruins need 2 at the 33. And Hundley runs it himself. Hundley nowhere to go because Shane Scove is getting explosion back after the knee injury, makes a tackle.
About the way he stayed on his feet and really danced with Brett Hundley on that play. Look at the fast start for both offenses. Second straight week, as you talked about, partner, both of them scoring on their opening drive. UCLA 85, Stanford 69 yards.
Third down and 3 at the 32. Franklin in motion. Hundley to the sideline. Nice throw. Great catch. Fuller. And he picks up the first down. Devin Fuller. Tackled by Ed Reynolds. And here's an interesting young man. A flag at the end of the play.
The result of the play was a first down for UCLA. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the offense number 10. 15 yards, first and 10, UCLA.
Jordan Payton, the freshman wide receiver, probably coming in to try and clean people off of the tackle on his classmate, Devin Fuller. A little overzealous, ends up costing him. See, plays being made, and then right there at the end, he takes out Ben Gardner, number 49, behind the play. And that's where the flag came from.
UCLA has had double-digit penalties in 4 straight games, including 12 for 135 yards last week against Stanford. First down and 10. Here's Hundley with the run. Hundley at midfield. Down the sideline, and the redshirt freshman from Chandler, Arizona, out of bounds, chased by Jordan Richards, and that's a gain of 48.
And that's an adjustment that Noel Mazzoni made because he showed the swing pass. Then he showed it in motion on the last play, hit Fuller on the backside. Look, there goes Franklin. They show it, and they come quarterback draw. And look right there, excellent block in the middle of the play by Xavier Suafilo, number 56, on Shane Scove, and Brett Hundley was sprinting.
First down at 10 of the 24. Now Franklin. Jonathan Franklin still running. Wow, Jonathan Franklin running right through Chase Thomas. Jordan Richards finally comes in to clean him up, but that's a 19-yard gain.
And I'd have to say probably 10 of that has to be after contact. Here's your first contact. He runs through Ed Reynolds, 29. Chase Thomas, the All-American linebacker, can't haul him down initially. Extra yardage for Jonathan Franklin before he's corralled.
First down and goal at the 5. Jordan James replaces Jonathan Franklin. Hundley in the gun. Here's Hundley for Fourier. Incomplete. Chase Thomas there defensively, as well as Jordan Richards. Joseph Fourier inside the red zone, a dangerous target.
And they went to that guy, the number 1 guy for them. And they had the matchup they wanted. Look at Chase Thomas. He's lucky he didn't get a penalty over the top, pulling the helmet. But they went to the matchup with a linebacker on Fourier before Richards came from inside out to help break up the pass.
11 receiving touchdowns on the year for Fourier. Second and goal at the 5. Hundley turns, steps up in the pocket, trying to get to the corner. Touchdown, Blue. Uh-oh, this is a different UCLA team than we saw last week.
And it's not unexpected because Jim Mora coaches this team. His teams will not stay down long. And how about what Noel Mazzoni is showing on the offensive side? He got everyone figured, okay, I'm swinging it to the backs. And he's showing about 3 counter plays on this drive, all off of that motion where the flow goes one way and they're hitting back on the other. A pass to Devin Fuller, Jonathan Franklin, and the quarterback draws, of course, with Brett Hundley.
First 2 drives, very successful for UCLA. 14-7, and the Bruins have the Stanford Cardinal defense off balance. They're using their playmakers, folks, and it's working. '84th meeting between Stanford and UCLA in a series that dates back to 1925. UCLA leads the series, but the Cardinal have won the last 4, including 6 days ago, 35-17. Different story now. The Bruins scoring on their first 2 drives. They go 85 to score. Stanford comes back, goes 69. UCLA comes back and goes 75. Let's see what the Cardinal will do. Kelsey Young. And Kelsey Young gobbled up at the 19-yard line. UCLA has rushed for 135 yards against Stanford. The most yards Stanford's given up this year, 198 rushing. Here's Hogan now. He'll give it to Anthony Wilkinson. And we told you these teams met 6 days ago, back-to-back games, and it hasn't happened very often in college football history.
Look at that last time in major college. University of Detroit versus Villanova. Detroit doesn't even play football anymore. Villanova won AA. Schools are still playing. Colorado State, Wyoming in the border war. And then Cal and Washington, 1916. So we're talking about really unprecedented stuff for the most part, especially in terms of a championship game where they're meeting back-to-back.
Hogan sprinting out of the pocket, throws to Ertz. And Ertz knocked out of bounds by Anthony Barr. And he gave him a great shove.
As we got started tonight, Gus, you asked me what changes in this game. How does this game change after the way Stanford dominated last week? We talked about Jim Mora and their attention to detail. We talked about the fanatical effort we knew they would get tonight. But how about the experience on the coaching staff of Jim Mora? Over 90 years of pro experience, playing and coaching over there. They know how to make adjustments. They know how to make tweaks. They had the kids mentally ready to play, but they also supplied them with a plan that's going to force Stanford now to make some adjustments defensively with Derek Mason, their D coordinator.
First down and 10 at the 29. Taylor, the single setback. And they'll give it to him. And nowhere to go. Odighizuwa as well as Barr in on the play. And folks, for the Spanish broadcast of our game, please tune in to Fox Deportes.
What UCLA had to be heartened about was how the defensive front just stood up the Stanford offensive line. No creases, no gaps, nowhere for a running back to find a space.
Second and 10 of the 19, empty backfield for Hogan. And Hogan flushed out of the pocket. This time he gets knocked down hard, somewhat there, and Hogan gained a couple. Odighizuwa as well.
Like the way UCLA rushed the passer, and you always hear people use the term lane integrity. Okay, let's talk about what lane integrity is real quick. That means you going in the spot where you're supposed to be because your teammate's going in another place.
Well, what if I see a gap and I want to make a play?
If you go out of your gap and your teammate doesn't adjust to it, you've now opened up a bigger gap for someone. In other words, you compromise the lane integrity. Don't do that. They were coordinated as a team defense and closed that play down.
Third down and 9 at the 30. Hogan steps up, wants to run, and he won't get it. Great coverage in the secondary by UCLA. Donovan Carter gets to him, and the Stanford Cardinal will be forced to punt it away.
Talk about coordinated. You mentioned it. The coverage in the secondary. Nowhere to go with the football for Hogan. Everyone kept the proper lane in rushing it. And now they close things down. You remember last week, Daniel Zaklinski got hurt punting the football. It's Ben Ryan punting it for Stanford.
Low punt. Shaq Evans over the sideline. Fields it at the 20. Here's Evans slipping, and he'll stay right there at the 20-yard line. Bruins with a 14-7 lead and the football at their own 20. Jonathan Franklin next to Brett Hundley. Here's Franklin. And they get Hundley, nothing. Josh Morrow knifing in. Initially, also Trent Murphy.
You know what we got there? That was Derek Mason, the defense coordinator for Stanford, saying, okay, you've hit me with a few counters and a few adjustments. I'll make one. And what he did was he told his defense, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to get upfield on first down. We're not just going to hold the point of attack. Let's try and get upfield and make a play in the backfield, and that's exactly what they did.
Exciting first quarter here in the Pac-12 Championship in Palo Alto with the visiting UCLA Bruins leading the Cardinals 14-7. 14-7, UCLA leading Stanford as we start the second quarter. Steady rain in Palo Alto.
And we know the field conditions were a little slick to start. Now everyone has to be very sure-footed. Anything out in space, let's see if the offense has the advantage as they know where they're going to run and cut.
Second down at 13 at the 17-yard line for Hundley. And Hundley gives it up. Here's Franklin again. Jonathan Franklin eating up the Stanford defense as he gets to midfield. And the Mare rumbling. That's a gain of 31.
And how about the offensive line of UCLA winning the point of attack? Watch to this side as they get that crease and get that space for Jonathan Franklin. Simon Goins, kick-out block. And then number 54, Jake Brendel, sealed the inside, which gave the lane for Jonathan Franklin.
Already Jonathan Franklin, 6 carries, 106 yards. He's averaging close to 18 yards per carry. And what a historic season for UCLA's all-time rushing leader, coming into this game with over 4,100 yards rushing. 5th on the Pac-12 all-time list, behind guys like Charles White, the Michael James. Look at the numbers for Jonathan Franklin this season, the Dorsey High School star.
Yep, went past Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, another past star here at UCLA. Every time he touches it, adding to his numbers and burnishing his legend.
Helmet coming off of Franklin. He'll miss a play for and Joseph Fourier in traffic gets to the 30. Ed Reynolds with the tackle for Stanford as UCLA gets to the line of scrimmage quickly.
Noel Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, has quite the plan tonight for Stanford. They're hitting them, as I talk about Stanford on all angles, UCLA is doing the exact same thing, but most of it has been set up by the early use of Jonathan Franklin swinging out of the backfield.
Before the snap, full start by the offense, number 70. 5 yards, first down.
That's Simon Goins, the offensive tackle. Remember at the beginning of the game we gave the keys? And I said it's when they happen. That's the type of drive-stopping penalty that hurt UCLA last week. Instead of 1st and 10, now you're 1st and 15. You got to get you behind the chains on offense.
At the 35, and look at the total yards. UCLA 224 here in the first half.
See if they go back with the motion out of the backfield to set everything else up.
Franklin. And this time, Shane Scove gets to him quickly. His helmet coming off again. He'll have to sit out a play.
Shane Scove, number 11. You talk about his explosion coming back after the knee injury that cost him most of last season. Played awfully well up at Oregon, had a key 4th down stop in that game to help Stanford win against the Ducks.
Second down and 16 at the 36. Jordan James in the game. Now Hundley, sideline. Picked off! Eddie Reynolds got him up the sideline. Reynolds still running. Reynolds at the 40. Watch out! Reynolds, can he get there? Touchdown, Stanford! Wow! No, they're going to call him down at the 1. Ed Reynolds with 3 pick sixes This season, the NCAA record is 4 by Delta O'Neal of Cal in 1999. Was this a touchdown?
Reynolds and Hundley does a nice job of hustling after throwing the interception. And as he's going down, you see his knees are down, but from that angle, can't see if he's extended across the goal line as he goes across. Knees were down. Let's take a look now. Knees down, ball stretching out. That's a tough one.
Looks like a touchdown to me.
That's a tough one. Replay officials, Dave Lambros. Gonna have to take a look at this one.
Ed Reynolds, what a season. As we mentioned, 3 pick sixes. Coming into the game, 221 total interception return yards. Now tack 80 onto that.
Yeah, Ben Lambros and Dave Lambros and Ben Pope have a tough job on this one, having to take a look. But it looked to me like as his knees were hitting, he was crossing the plane with the football. This could turn out to be exactly what you described. That 4th pick 6 on the season, which would tie a Stanford guy with a Cal guy.
That's right.
And don't think they wouldn't take a little extra pleasure in that here on the farm. 23rd straight game now, Stanford is forced to turnover. They've gotten a takeaway in 23 straight games. A ball-hawking group of defenders.
The ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Stanford.
So one goal line play goes in favor of UCLA early. Here's Jonathan Franklin, their first touchdown of the game. This one was called a touchdown. Now on this one with Ed Reynolds, they're saying he was down. You see the knees are down here. And they're saying his knees were down before the ball broke the plane. First and goal, Stanford, and they'll come out heavy. Look at this set.
First down and goal at the 1. Stephon Taylor. Touchdown. Stephon Taylor with the 1-yard touchdown, and with 12:57 to play here in the second quarter, they're all tied up at 14 in the Pac-12 championship game. And Reynolds with the big interception all the way down to the 1, and the senior captain pays it off.
The Pac-12 championship game is all tied at 14 between Stanford and UCLA. Petros Papadakis, 2 freshman quarterbacks dueling tonight. One just made a big mistake.
Yeah, you wondered which one, Charles, was going to show up and show his inexperience first, and it turned out to be Brett Hundley. An ill-advised throw that was undercut by Reynolds, and a great return, an Ed Reed-like return. But, you know, Hogan is yet to have a freshman game. We could see it here in the second quarter. He's been brilliant.
Devin Fuller will take a knee, and UCLA will get it at the 25. First down for Hundley at the 25 after the interception. Now he'll run it, and Hundley slumped down by Skov at the 30 after a 5-yard gain. But let's get you caught up on what's taking place here, folks. UCLA scored on their opening drive, 8 plays, 85 yards, and a 51-yard run by Jonathan Franklin. Stanford came back on an 11-play, 69-yard drive. Hogan with a 2-yard bootleg run to get the Cardinal on the board. And UCLA right back, 7 plays, 75 yards. Hundley with the 5-yard run. Gives it up here. And now the interception. And Stephon Taylor caps it off with the 1-yard run. And we're tied up at 14 in the Pac-12 championship game. With 12:08 to play here in the second quarter.
And we've talked so much about what Noel Mazzoni's done on offense for UCLA. Derek Mason, the adjustments I'm seeing from him now, crowding the line of scrimmage with a few more bodies, trying not to let anything get in motion early for UCLA.
Third down and 5 at the 30. Hundley wants to take kickoff, but it's tackled from behind by Chase Thomas. Now the Stanford defense stepping up, and UCLA will have to punt it away. Gus Johnson, Charles Davis in the booth, Julie Alexandria, and Petros Papadakis on the sideline. The Pac-12 championship game in Palo Alto, California. Stanford Stadium. Jeff Locke, first team All Pac-12 as a punter. Stanford, the defense stepping up, forcing the UCLA punt. Now the Cardinal with the football at their own 31.
Loving taking that deep shot with an outside receiver like Jamal Rashad Patterson, number 21.
Here's a handoff, Taylor. And he'll pick up 5. Eric Kendricks defensively. Remember Pat Riley, he used to say the three-point line was fool's gold. Last week, the big thumping 35-17 Stanford. Last week at UCLA, maybe too much of a confidence builder?
Potentially, but I don't really think so. I just think that UCLA came back ready to play. And you talk about thumping, look what's in the lineup now for Stanford. Extra offensive linemen, extra tight ends.
Taylor with the first down and more as he crawls to midfield. Now it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Speaking of great running backs, Jonathan Franklin of UCLA and Stephon Taylor of Stanford hold school records for career rushing yards. Who holds the Pac-12 career record? We know you know. Folks, I know Charles Davis always knows.
Well, that's because they give me the answer ahead of time.
Hewitt. It may be Petros Papadakis. That's who I'm guessing.
You know, he was captain of the USC team.
That's right.
But just look at the changes we see offensively for Stanford. Just a constant in and out, and offensive linemen moving around, extra tight ends. Then they go out. Here comes the smaller guys. We haven't even seen the Wildcat yet, but it was prominent last game 6 days ago for Stanford as another change-up. Pep Hamilton coordinating the offense for the Stanford Cardinals.
Second down and 8 at the 49. Out of the gun, Hogan slipping. And he'll fire as his man on the far side. And that's Patterson, who's knocked backwards and body slammed by Kendricks. Field conditions, a big story. Here's Julie Alexandria.
Hey, Gus. Well, the rain seems to come and go about every 10 minutes or so. Right now, it's held off, but the sidelines are nothing but mud, and the field is incredibly slick. As you can see, a bit of a slip and slide out there for these guys.
Julie, we hope you got your galoshes down there. Maybe they got some cleats in them, but we don't need you slipping and sliding, too. I think the closer you get to the sidelines, the more slippery the field. That was what I felt in pregame.
Third down and 4 at the 45. Kelsey Young checks in on third down. He's a single setback. They pitch it to him. Young trying to get outside and has a first down. He's got speed, redshirt freshman from Norco, California. A lot of weapons on this Stanford team. And we talked to David Shaw yesterday. He talked about how he's getting calls from guys that you don't normally see calling to play in Stanford. Recruiting's going well.
Things are going very well. They become a prominent team. And one way you become a prominent team, catch a pitch that could have been a little bit errant. Kelsey Young showing his hands. A running back, wide receiver combination shows why they like to have him on the field handling that pitch.
First down at the 37. Taylor making tackles. Punishing run as Tevin McDonald jumps on for a ride. Stephon Taylor pick up 5. Now let's answer our Aflac trivia question. Jonathan Franklin and Stephon Taylor at Stanford hold school records for career rushing. Who holds the Pac-12 record? That's an easy one. The Heisman Trophy winner, Charlie White. Over 6,200 yards rushing between 76 and 79. Didn't Marcus Allen block for him?
He sure did before he became a Heisman winner himself. Petros Papadakis, real quick. Does this sound familiar? Row stem right, 28 pitch.
There was nobody like Charles White, the toughest running back of all time and a great hurdler.
Second down and 5 at 32. Hogan in trouble. Finds Taylor, and Taylor tackled immediately. Zumwalt, Jordan Zumwalt, the junior from Huntington Beach, California. And every time we watch Jordan play, you always mention his name 4 or 5 times in the game.
He plays to the point of exhaustion. Actually missed a game this year. You know why? Had a scooter accident on campus. Gashed up his left eye, 150 stitches. The only reason he missed, they couldn't get the helmet on his head after the injury. And he was angry that he couldn't find a bigger helmet to go play against Colorado. Talking about a tough guy, Jordan Zumwalt epitomizes that.
3rd down and 5 at the 32. Hogan in trouble, and he's sacked. Odighizuwa and Anthony Barr combining on the play.
And how do you handle mobile quarterbacks? A lot of the time, it's up the middle pressure. The gut pressure coming right at you. Look at the guys in the middle, okay? And they get right in the face of Kevin Hogan and leave him no escape route. He had no escape hatch at all. Barr 11, Odighizuwa, number 94, combined for the sack.
So on 4th down, Stanford lets it go. Here's the Darren Bennett end-over-end kick. And it'll head into the end zone for a touchback. Bruins with the rock at their own 20. And the inside handoff to Jonathan Franklin. And he'll pick up 3, a flag though.
That came from the referee. That's often a holding call from behind the play. There's your guy, Gus.
That's right.
Holding by the offense, number 77. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, 1st down.
What's that you call Sean Hockey League?
Guns Jr.
Guns
Let's take a
Jr.
look at some key plays here.
Early in the game, Jonathan Franklin with a big sprint right up the gut of the Stanford defense. UCLA scores on that drive. Brian Hewitt picks up a key 4th down, keeps the drive alive. Stanford scores. Then Ed Reynolds playing center field with Stanford down 14-7. Almost takes it back for a touchdown. Stephon Taylor scores. Stanford ties it at 14.
Jordan James on the screen. And he'll gain 5 yards.
Have you seen Jordan's mohawk? Have you seen that gold mohawk he's got?
I think I have seen it.
You know what the fella's calling?
What?
Blade. From the movie?
That's right.
He's a black belt in karate. So Jordan, I'm saying it with all due respect. I don't need you to come look for me.
2nd down and 15 at the 15-yard line. Hundley throws, Fuller and a hole. He slips. Tough day for Devin Fuller. He's from New Jersey. As you take a look, his mom is a singer for Bruce Springsteen. She's performing in Oakland tonight and can't even watch the game.
You know she's got the game piped into her earphone while she's up there singing, trying to listen. But that goes back to the report Julie Alexandria gave us about the sidelines are extremely slippery. The closer you get to the sidelines, the tougher it is for the footing on the field today.
3rd down and 11 at the 19. Hundley over the middle, incomplete. Jerry Johnson, the intended receiver. That one thrown at his knees. And UCLA will punt it away.
And that was one where I wondered if he thought about flushing and running there. The lane in the crease was open. He decided to play it from the pocket, and then he was inaccurate in the throw. UCLA has to kick the ball away.
So Jeff Locke, first team all Pac-12 as a punter, left-footed. Terrell with the fair catch at the 36, a 45-yard punt. Legendary Stanford band. When you worked here, those kids just gave you so much joy as an athletic director, assistant athletic director, didn't they?
Took 5 years off of my life, never to be spoken about again.
Stephon Taylor, and he's dropped by Zumwalt.
Maybe 10.
Now it's time for tonight's Reese's Perfect Play.
And take a look at Ed Reynolds. To the right of your screen, playing center field, okay? But watch Brett Hundley go back in the pocket. Really doesn't look him off. He's locked into the receiver on the right side. Ed Reynolds reads it, flows to the football, and how about the return? Picks up a couple of nice blocks, but terrific running ability by Ed Reynolds. I thought he scored. They called him down inside the 1. Stephon Taylor scored 1 play later to tie the score at 14.
Returned at 80 yards. Hogan, 2nd and 13. Now he has a lane. Hogan pulls it down and gets out of bounds. Zumwalt there.
Now, do you get a tackle and a half for knocking Hogan out and an official to the sideline?
They should give it to him. Kevin Hogan, 6 for 6, 56 yards. He hasn't made, as Petros mentioned, a mistake yet.
No, he shows the poise here by not throwing the ball up for grabs, and really it's not a tackle because the official slipped on the sideline. And one thing to keep in mind is, Gus, when they took the tarp off, they squeegeed the field and pushed everything to the sidelines. Thus, the sidelines are going to be, and closer to the sideline, will be slippier than anything else he's got.
On 3rd down and 9, incomplete. Hewitt, the intended receiver. That one's sailing high, and Stanford now will punt it away with 3:46 to go. UCLA with all 3 of their timeouts. And you have to give Jim Mora and his staff a lot of credit with how he prepared this team for this game.
Exactly, and it's not anything that should surprise anyone who knows Jim Mora and knows how his staff operates, and the resiliency of kids. They get down, they let it go. 6 days later, they're right back into it. They didn't even use a 24-hour rule. They let it go at midnight of Saturday.
Shaq Evans at the 20. And Shaq Evans will lose yardage. First down for UCLA. Jonathan Franklin has had a great first half rushing the football. Gains 3, so he has 10 carries, 113 yards. Shane Skov with the tackle.
And on the break, Petros Papadakis made a great point to me, calling up here to the booth about, with everything so slippery to the sidelines, with these swing passes that UCLA's running, if their runners can keep their feet and make that one cut, they have a huge advantage. Devin Fuller had a big gap 1 series ago, but slipped and fell, and it turned into a pedestrian game.
Franklin again with a first down, and he loses an edge. But a flag on the play in the backfield.
Another one from the referee behind the play. It's often not good for the offense.
Holding by the offense, number 60. After this 10 yards, replay, 2nd down.
Jeff Bacca, another penalty. Last few games, he's starting to accumulate a good number. But behind the play was the hold, but there's the story of what we have right now. Julie Alexander has told us about the field. Petros Papadakis has given us extra information on it. Jonathan Franklin unable to keep his blade like a skier and tumbles on his side.
Jeff Bacca, 2nd team, all Pac-12. Hundley finds his receiver once again. Jonathan Franklin, the hard cut inside, gets to the 20. He'll gain 7 yards on the play.
And he made the defender miss, made him slip, but in the process, he slipped and went down himself. Tough traction right now. I wonder about the equipment managers for both teams. Do they have different cleats?
Timeout called by Stanford, their first. 3rd down and 10. At the 20 for Hundley. Brett Hundley with time. Underneath, and he put it on Payton. Beautiful throw on the crossing route. Jordan Payton picks up 16 yards. Amonum with the tackle.
How about the pass protection for Brett Hundley? Plenty of time to survey the field, go through his progressions, and find Payton underneath.
Hundley 10 of 13 in the first half. Fuller, sideline. And Devin Fuller knocked out of bounds at the 41 by Jordan Richards.
How about Jordan Payton, number 10, makes the catch and comes back the very next play. Nice block out on the perimeter for his running mate, Devin Fuller.
UCLA to the line of scrimmage quickly. 2nd and 5 at the 41. Hundley finds James. And James, beautiful open field tackle by Terrence Brown. Terrence Brown has just had a wonderful year for the Stanford Cardinal.
Take a listen to this.
third leading tackler. Third down 4 at the 42. Hundley over the middle. Incomplete. That one in and out of the hands of Darius Bell. Should have had it. And with 1:42 to go, the UCLA will punt it on 4th down. And partner, correct me if I'm wrong, but offensively, UCLA looks a lot more like Oregon.
Starting the way they're moving around and the way they're moving things and going quickly. I like what you're talking about there, and we're seeing much more of that spread offensive influence permeate things out here in the Pac-12.
This ball down inside the 20. First down and 10 at the 17. Hogan will run it. Hogan trying to get out of bounds. It does after he picks up the first down in front of Andrew Abbott.
That's the third time he's pulled it on the read play with him and a running back, and all of them have worked successfully. One of them he waltzed into the end zone on a short yardage play, but the other two read it correctly, got to the corner, made another play, just what you talked about, Gus.
And Jordan Williamson has found the rhythm. Where do they need to go to get into his range? As Hogan drops it off to Stephon Taylor, Sunwalt knocks him out of bounds.
They talk about being comfortable up to about 52 yards, and if pressed, somewhere around 56 yards. Last week against UCLA, missed his only field goal attempt, which was a 45-yarder, but he doesn't worry about that. He hit the 37-yarder in overtime against Oregon, which helped erase the Fiesta Bowl for him, where he struggled, missed a couple of game-winning kick opportunities in that game, faced the failure, and his punt come out the other side.
Hogan again, and Hogan crosses the 45 to the 47, Sunwalt the tackle.
And now what we're seeing with Hogan is his ability to try and get the football into Jordan Williamson's range. Right now, when they're utilizing his legs to create first downs, and remember, first downs are like mini timeouts. They're handling the clock well, still over a minute of time on the clock.
Hogan slipping, and he'll drop it off. Troy Lolo, the 6'8" tight end, stopped by Cassius Marsh. With 55 seconds to go, Stanford using their second timeout, so they have one remaining.
And you know who knows name we have not called tonight? Zach Ertz, tight end.
One time in the first quarter. Ertz in the slot at the top of your screen. Hogan steps up, throws on the run. And it is caught by Drew Terrell. Beautiful body control by the senior to get his feet in bounds.
Came into this season with 11 career catches, came into tonight with 27 on the year. And he's an excellent blocker downfield, very dependable on third down. 12 of his catches have gone for first downs on third down. Here's Ertz, second from the top in the slot.
Hogan. Terrell again. And Terrell to the 20.
Let's see if they hurry up here, Gus, and try and conserve a timeout here, because remember, the clock has to stop. Notice, not moving right now, 44 seconds, because they got the first down.
David Shaw must be impressed with the way his redshirt freshman is leading this drive during the closing moments of the second quarter.
Showing an incredible amount of poise and maturity, because you know he hasn't run very many of these. Although they did run a nice drive at the end of the game to beat Oregon State. And then down the stretch to tie the game at Oregon, he had Ertz in the end zone with less than a minute to go.
Josh Nunez was the quarterback. Why did they make the change?
Because of accuracy and big plays being left on the field. Josh Nunez did a nice job beating USC, was only 52% thrower. In this offense, if you're not in the mid-60s, something's wrong.
Second and 10, Hogan dancing. Hogan steps up. Flag on the play. Hogan down at the 15. And the flag is in the backfield. Anthony Barr with the tackle.
I think this one's coming back.
And if it does, that would be the first Stanford penalty of the evening.
By the offense number 65. 10 yards. Replay, second down.
Khalil Wilkes, first-year starter, has had a nice year at offensive guard. Sometimes when you get out into open field with a quarterback, when things break down, it's hard for a lineman to dance and work on his feet in space with a pass rusher. They get off balance, they end up reaching out and grabbing someone.
Khalil from Teaneck, New Jersey, second and 20 at the 30. 26 seconds to go. One timeout remaining for the Cardinal. Hogan pumping sideline, and he'll use this one out of bounds, intended for Taylor.
And that's okay, because he wanted Ertz on a post corner route, really trying to get him to the sideline. Didn't have it, pulled it down, tries to find Taylor and realizes he's covered too. So instead of throwing it to him and letting him take a 5-yard loss, throws it over his head. Incomplete pass, fight another down, no loss of yardage.
Third down and 20. They'll be conservative on this play as Stephon Taylor tries to get a little more room for Jordan Williamson.
And let the clock tick down and then kick the field goal.
So now they'll bring on the field goal unit. 2 seconds remaining.
And remember now, we're talking about field conditions being an issue this evening. There's Devin Fuller. What could have been a big gainer for UCLA. He slips. There's Hogan in the pocket. Can't keep his balance, has to re-clutch. Jonathan Franklin out in the open field. Loses his blade like a good skier and goes down. But here we have an issue now because guess what? Remember Daniel Zaklinski, the punter? He was the holder all year long. So Ben Ryan, number 14, has to come in now. Zaklinski got hurt last week. He's the new holder for Jordan Williamson. Let's see how their mechanics are working this evening.
From 37 yards away, Jordan Williamson, the redshirt sophomore from Austin, Texas, trying to give Stanford a 3-point halftime lead. Palo Alto, the Pac-12 championship, and the Cardinal of Stanford lead the Bruins of UCLA 17-14. Nice kick by Jordan Williamson.
A good spot by Ben Ryan, gets the laces away, and they have good footing as he knocks it through.
17-14 at the break, Cardinal.
I'm a predator, rapture, I am killing it.
17-14, Stanford leads UCLA as we prepare to start the second half. Gus Johnson along with Charles Davis. I thought the first half was just a wonderfully played football game, especially when you look at what happened to UCLA last week and what they accomplished in the first half.
They knew that the question would be asked, can you bounce back? Can you go toe-to-toe with Stanford? And they felt like the answer was yes. They needed to prove it, and I think they've done that so far in the first half. They've been as physical as Stanford throughout the game. They had an excellent offensive plan that made Stanford scramble and make adjustments defensively. The key, though, can there be no more mistakes out of Brett Hundley? He threw a key pick in the first half that led to a touchdown for Stanford.
The Cardinal will have the ball to start the second half. And Kelsey Young will take the knee. First down and 10 of 25 for young Kevin Hogan and the Cardinal offense. Here's a handoff, Stephon Taylor. And Dayton Jones in the middle of the scrum. Let's take a look at the Pizza Hut first half numbers.
Hey, look at the rushing yardage. We always talk about Stanford and their heavy run game. How about what UCLA did with a couple of key sprints in the first half? Pass yards even. How about average yards on first down? UCLA setting the pace. Well over a first down on first down. Total plays almost even. But the key, one turnover, Brett Hundley's interception to Ed Reynolds, led to a touchdown for Stanford that tied the game at 14 at that point.
2nd and 6. Hogan looking. And Hogan finds Stephon Taylor out of the backfield. And he picks up 4 yards on the play. Eric Kendricks wraps him up.
I don't want to get overly dramatic here as we start the third quarter. But this is a big 3rd and 2 for UCLA's defense because Stanford, field goal to end the half. Get the ball to start the second half. If they can go and play their normal bully ball, run the football, control clock, take 6 or 7 minutes off the clock, and score a touchdown, they'll feel like they've now got control of the football game. Can UCLA get off the field early in this drive?
3rd and short. Hogan sprints out of the pocket. Looking. Hogan wants a first down. Anthony Barr was there. And from the backside, Dayton Jones. And as you mentioned, partner, a huge opportunity for UCLA to get off the field, and the Bruins do that.
They just closed everything down. They constricted the running lanes that Kevin Hogan was looking for. He was looking for that back door to escape from out of the pocket. It never was there. That allowed Dayton Jones to pursue from the open field and finish the play.
Jack Evans at the 25. Short kick. And out of bounds. So let's see where they spot the football, and it will be at around the 40-yard line, a 30-yard punt. UCLA with the football, solid field position at their own 40-yard line. First down. Devin Fuller in motion. Hundley sidestepping. Hundley looking for a lane, and he has one. And Hundley will dive forward and pick up 3.5. Chase Thomas defensively for the Cardinal.
Let's see, Gus, as this half unfolds for UCLA, if Noel Mazzoni keeps going what I call the motion series. The running backs out of the backfield trying to draw your eyes to one spot. They'll swing it to him at times. Here comes another one and hit you opposite at others.
Jonathan Franklin, first down and more. Franklin, stutter step. And Jonathan Franklin all the way to the 25. Franklin has been eating up this Stanford defense tonight. He gains 32 on the play. 11 carries, 145 yards rushing for Franklin.
And look at what happens with the motion series again, okay? And this is Devin Fuller's going to come out here. Watch how the Stanford defense reacts here to open up the lane. See, Ed Reynolds, number 29, the free safety, he comes out of the middle of the field. So once it's blocked and Franklin puts a foot in the ground and gets back to the middle of the field, the free safety's out of the hole. Great opening for UCLA.
UCLA has rushed for 208 yards, most yards given up by this Stanford Cardinal defense on the ground this season. They gave up 198 at Oregon. Meanwhile, here's Jordan James, and he's close to a first down. And from the very beginning of this game, Charles, it looks like this UCLA offense has kept Stanford off balance. They don't really know where they're getting attacked.
And, you know, Stanford does everything off of a heavy run game, and then all their change-ups and counters come off of that. Tonight for UCLA, it's been off of the motion series. Running backs out in the backfield, pulling people out of the middle of the field, and then they're hitting them back on the other side. Quarterback draws, passes, runs inside the Hundley.
George James
Franklin
knocked down hard. This time it's Henry Anderson.
And they have been off balance. I think that's a great word for it. David Shaw, the head coach of Stanford, taking a look. Look at this. Normally they give up 71 yards per game. They held Jonathan Franklin to 65 yards total just 6 days ago. Tonight, 206. But they given up 198 to Oregon earlier this year. That was the highest total.
Third down at 3 of the 18. Hundley underneath. And a first down, Jerry Johnson. The sure-handed receiver had to make an adjustment in front of A.J. Tarpley. But the Bruins pick up the first down.
He didn't use his big body to shield Tarpley away from the football. Watch Johnson as he catches the ball. See how he gives his back to A.J. Tarpley? He got to come through number 9 in order to get the football. And Johnson is 6'3", 211, is a big target.
Opening drive of the second half of the Bruins to the sideline. And it's James. And he'll get inside the 10-yard line. Wayne Lyons with the tackle.
And that's a nifty move out to the sideline by UCLA, because you know what they did? They used the receiver on the sideline to run a route, which is essentially a pick route because you can't block, right, on that play downfield until the ball's caught. The ball's in the air. So he ends up going downfield and really using his body on the defensive back to shield him off.
2nd and 5 at the 8-yard line. UCLA trying to punch it in. Here's Franklin. And nothing. He'll lose yardage on the play. Shane Scove with the penetration. So a big 3rd down and 6 at the 9. David Shaw needs his defense to make a play right here. Huntley's been good with his legs, what he wants to be. Huntley steps back. Buying time. Huntley looking. A Fran Tarkenton moment. No, Stanford's there. Trent Murphy. Chase Thomas combining. And after giving up 7 sacks last week, that's the 2nd sack of the day for Stanford.
Watch Joseph Fourier. They always talk about receivers having to fight through a route. Scove knocks him down, and watch Fourier's reaction. He wants a call instead of fighting to get back into the play. And once he went over the end line, the official took his hat off to signify he was dead as a receiver.
Fahimi Fairbairn into attempt a 31-yarder. He's had his struggles this season. But over the last couple of weeks, he has been stroking it.
Confidence from his head coach. All year, he stuck with him. Got the 48-yarder last week. That was a confidence kick that's carried him through now. We're all tied up at 17.
Fairbairn, 6 field goals in a row over a span of 7 games. Tied at 17 here at the Pac-12 Championship. The winner of this game, not only conference champions, but advancing to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
And Gus, let me clean up something real quick. In that last play when Fourier got knocked over the end line, he was still good as a receiver. All right, the official takes his hat off when a guy goes out of bounds, whether he's clean to come back or not. He was good because he'd been forced out by Stanford's defense. If he'd gone out voluntarily, then he couldn't be the first guy to touch the ball.
Locke sends this one into the end zone, and it will be down by Wright. Let's go downstairs to Julie Alexandria.
Hey guys, Charles, I know you had a question about what kind of cleats these guys were wearing to combat the elements, and it basically comes down to one of 2 choices. You've got the 7 stud, which have the screw-in spikes, the metal right here, and then you've got the multi-purpose. And an equipment manager over here on the Stanford side said it comes down to personal preference, and it's about 50-50. But let me tell you guys, they look a lot better than they smell.
Julie, you're trying to work on a Febreze contract, aren't you? We're up here with Michael Batlin, who's an official with the Pac-10. And he tells us that no cleat can exceed a half inch. So cleats have to be less than a half inch in length in order to be legal to play.
Game tied at 17. Here come the Cardinal, Anthony Wilkerson. 3-yard gain. Anthony Wilkerson got a lot of PT last week in the 35-17 Stanford win.
Yeah, most run he's really had all year. He got carried it 13 times, 48 yards and a touchdown out of the Wildcat, and really did a nice job changing things up against UCLA's defense.
Ridden out of bounds by Kendricks after 4-yard pickup. Stephon Taylor running hard this evening, but not as successful as last week. 14 carries, 49 yards. His long 13 this evening. Averaging 3.5 yards per carry. Last week, 20 carries, 142 yards, and 2 touchdowns in just 2.5 quarters. 3rd and 3. Hogan on the sprint out. Over the middle. Oh, dangerous throw almost picked off, intended for Patterson, and flag on the play.
Came from the field judge, Mike McCabe.
Pass interference by the defense, number 21. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Aaron Hester, the right corner, called for interference.
Now he and Sheldon Price, number 22. Let's see if you play here. Work against Jamal Rashad Patterson. He's clearly got hands on him while he's running the route before the ball gets there. So it's an excellent call by the official. But he and Price did such a nice job against USC because they were aggressive with the USC wide receivers. They were willing to give away a couple of calls as long as they kept up their aggressiveness.
First down and 10 for the Cardinals at the 38. Here's a bootleg. Hogan drops it off to Hewitt. And Hewitt just swung down by guess who? Anthony Barr.
That's one of the few decisions tonight that I would question a little bit with Kevin Hogan. You know why? Watch as he comes out here. He delivers it to Hewitt, but Barr has the play in front of him. I think Hogan should have kept the football, turned Hewitt into a blocker, and ran the football. Because at that point, when he delivers the pass, Barr's got a bead on Hewitt. Instead, make him play the blocker and see if you can pick it up with your legs.
Second down and 9 to the 39. Hogan to Taylor. And Taylor will tightrope up the sideline and get out at the 41.5. 3-yard gain, so that brings up third down and 6.
Sidelines have been difficult. Petros Papadakis, Julie Alexandria have told us how slick the conditions are there because of having to squeegee the field and push all the water towards the sidelines. The footing has been a little treacherous. Everyone trying to traverse it and pick up yardage at their own peril.
Third down and 6 at the 42 for Stanford. To get their confidence going, they need to convert right here and stay on. They hand it off to Taylor. Looking, and he won't get there. Terrific pursuit led by Eric Kendricks, and the Cardinals have to punt it away again. This UCLA defense is getting stingier and stingier.
And the guy who doesn't make the play in terms of the tackle made the play. And that's number 11, Anthony Barr. Watch what he does as he starts to pass rush. Then he plays David Yankee, and then here comes Cameron Fleming. He plays off a 2 block, stacks it up, and lets other people make the tackle.
Shaq Evans lets it go over his head and into the end zone. UCLA and Stanford battling. Here's Hundley, and he finds Peyton. And Peyton stays on his feet as he's knocked out of bounds by Richards. Petros, Jim Mora, from what you told us, is pretty confident about his team.
He's had a smile on his face the whole second half here, guys. And if you think about it, David Shaw has the much tougher coaching job in this football game because his team has already proven they could beat Stanford. UCLA's all riled up.
Second down and 5. Jonathan Franklin bottled up. And what would it mean for UCLA if Jim Mora were to take his team in his first year to the Rose Bowl? UCLA's last Rose Bowl was after the 1998 season, a 39-31 loss to Wisconsin. Their last Rose Bowl victory, 45-28 over Iowa in 1986. Third down and 4 at the 26. Here's Hundley. Taking it long, shot, and caught. Out of bounds, but a flag on the play. Shaq Evans, a 20-yard gain. But let's see. And it looks like it may be offside against the Cardinal.
The ruling on the field is a completion. Offside by the defense. Number 11 was lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty's declined. First down.
And watch Shaq Evans, number 1, finally pushing the ball downfield a little bit. See him working against Terrence Brown, number 6, man-to-man, breaks it off to the side. That's a well-thrown football by Brett Hundley. In the break, Petros and I were talking about the fact that no team has really pushed the ball downfield. That's the first real attempt we've seen at it in a long time.
2 catches, 24 yards for Shaq Evans. Chase Thomas with the tackle on Jonathan Franklin. Meanwhile, for the Stanford Cardinal, David Shaw in his second year, replacing Jim Harbaugh. 10-2 this season. The stunning victory in Eugene. The controversial loss in South Bend to the #1 team in the nation, Notre Dame. Stanford's last Rose Bowl was after the 1999 season, a 17-9 loss to Wisconsin. And here's Huntley stuffing up in the pocket, looking for the first down, and he has it.
Notice in what you're recounting there, partner, there's a recurring theme there.
Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin. Who we will see tomorrow night. And they have an opportunity to go to their 3rd straight Rose Bowl, something that hasn't been done in the Big Ten since Michigan, 1977 to 1979. Brett Bielema's team may be 7-5, but they still have an opportunity to grab the brass ring and head west.
First down and 10 at the 42. And they'll swing it out in the flats. Kenneth Walker. First time we've heard his name. That's a 5-yard gain. Jordan Richards with the tackle. What do you call that play? We've seen that from the very beginning of this football game.
It's just really a long swing pass, whether you want to call it a hitch or whatever you want to do with it, but you're getting wide receivers downfield blocking and allowing the receiver hopefully to get open space after the catch. Here it comes again.
On the other side,
blocking.
And Walker with a nice move.
A lot of people call it
it'll
like
be
a
close to the
screen.
first down. One thing's for sure, though, folks, these players are leaving nothing on the field.
Yeah, Walker trying to get the shoulder down to finish the run. Nice tackle by Jordan Richards, also trying to come through the receiver. Neither side giving on that play.
How about the poise of this young man? I know he threw the interception in the first half, but Brett Hundley, wise beyond his years.
And I think that makes your point. He threw the interception in the first half. Big game, young kid. Some kids go to pieces on that. Right. They can't handle it. They come to the bench. Oh, coach, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Him, he's more of a, and you see how short, they're just barely short on the play. He's what a lot of people call a next play guy. Okay, that play happened, next play, let's move on. It's in the past, and he's shown that again this evening.
UCLA so fortunate to have this young man. He's actually recruited by Stanford. And when you look at him, you just know the future's so bright. So many good young quarterbacks in the Pac-12.
You just keep looking around. Marcus Mariota at Oregon. We're seeing 2 of them here tonight. The young man at Arizona State. Listen, here's a time now. Be careful, Stanford. Do you take a shot on 3rd and short here with an opportunity to come back on 4th down when it's this close?
Fourier, the tight end at the bottom of your screen. And Huntley with the quarterback sneak. He'll use all 6'3", 223 pounds to pick up the first down.
That wasn't a textbook sneak, but it worked. See, they really want you, even as tall as he is, they need you lower so you have a center of gravity and some power to run behind. When you just run straight up, you have no power. Fortunately, his offensive line carved out enough of a gap to fall forward for the first down.
First down at the Stanford 31. Huntley in trouble. Gets it away quickly. And Fuller a yard on the play. Ed Reynolds, great pursuit. Drives a freshman out of bounds.
That was a play where you talk about defensive backs trusting their eyes and going. Ed Reynolds said with his eyes, he saw the play. He's seen it enough tonight. He just took off. He knew what was coming, and he ended up covering for Uswa Amanum out on the flat.
10th play of the drive that started at the 20-yard line. Second down and 8 at the 29. Huntley will take it himself. And Huntley crosses the 35, gets up to the 36.
Gus, we've seen these two teams a number of times this year. This drive, does this not feel like a Stanford drive without the heavy run?
Correction. UCLA at the 25-yard line. 3rd down and 4. And the Bruins will call a timeout.
Had to throw some West Coast flavor in with the Pac-12. Lee's had an outstanding year, so has Taylor.
3rd down and 4. Huntley looking for the first down, and has it. With a minute and 20 to go in the 3rd. You're a Heisman voter. Who are you voting for?
I'll let you know on December. I'll let you know that Monday when I finally cast the vote. But again, the motion series that Noel Mazzoni has shown tonight has created opportunities for everyone. Motion out of the backfield, quarterback draw.
How about this? Jonathan Franklin touchdown, UCLA. 20 yards. And the Bruins reclaim the lead.
Take a look again. Run all this motion now. Now they spread out. Look at the splits of the offensive linemen. They're creating natural creases and gaps with the defensive linemen, and then they're holding their blocks just enough for Jonathan Franklin to vault through them for the go-ahead touchdown.
Franklin, 15 carries, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns with a long of 51. He's averaging 11 yards per carry. Jonathan Franklin gives UCLA a 24-17 lead.
And those guys in the cage, right, the octagon, like to impose their will on people. Who's going to get that done? Stanford is used to doing that, but tonight, that's not happening. UCLA right now controlling the pace, controlling the tempo, and in a lot of ways controlling the line of scrimmage as this game nears the end of the 3rd quarter.
First down and 10 of the 37. Hewitt, the motion man, as the H-back. Taylor running into a wall on the right side. Stanford on the season averages 173 rushing yards per game. That's 49th in the nation. As we speak right now, the Cardinals rushed for 108 yards, so they're on their way to that average, but the explosiveness of the running game doesn't look the same as we've seen it in the past.
It's not. They're not getting the normal yards per carry that they get on each and every run. UCLA right now, their defensive front, very stout against the big offensive line of Stanford.
2nd and 7. Hogan winds up the sideline. Incomplete. That was thrown too far ahead of Cody Whitfield. Now look at the momentum, look at the enthusiasm that this UCLA defense is playing with now.
They're starting to gain more and more confidence with each and every play. Aaron Hester got the pass interference a series ago, correct?
Yes.
Sheldon Price comes right back, keeps the same tight coverage on the other corner, doesn't allow the completion. They're telling the guys up front, you go get the quarterback now. We'll take care of things back deep.
Stanford 2 of 9 on 3rd down conversions. 3rd and 7. Here's Hogan. Winds up. Caught. Terrell and a flash. First down. It'll be a 17-yard gain if it stands.
And if it does, credit the Stanford offensive line for keeping Kevin Hogan clean in the pocket.
Holding by the defense number 21. That penalty's declined. The play results in a first down.
Aaron Hester once again. 9 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Stanford wants to go a little quicker now.
Stanford led 17-14 and a flag.
They got the offensive guard in motion. 96.
Number 96 simulated the start of the snap. False start, 5 yards, first down.
Yeah, he's protesting, but they nailed it. He double clutched on the play before he took off in motion, after he'd already gone down to a 3-point stance.
Still in Bonnell.
Yeah, he's an offensive guard wearing a tight end number.
And that's the end of the 3rd quarter, folks, with the score of the Pac-12 championship. The winner to advance to the Rose Bowl. The young UCLA Bruins are 1 quarter away from going back home and playing for the Roses. All right, start of the fourth quarter of the Pac-12 championship game with the UCLA Bruins leading on the road 24-17. First down to the long 15 for Stanford. Here's a handoff, Stephon Taylor has to sidestep. He's stood up by Tevin McDonald and a flag on the play.
Personal foul, face mask by the defense, number 7. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Tevin McDonald. But during the quarter timeout, this was the scene.
Where you am I? No! We want some more! We want some more! We want some more!
Different story on the Stanford sideline. A little more subdued, but passionate.
Two different approaches. Both have been extremely successful this year. Who wins out in the fourth quarter?
Face mask penalty gives Stanford a first down at the UCLA 32-yard line. Hogan setting up deep. Hogan fires. Hogan up at the last moment. Aaron Hester. Terrific play.
If you haven't seen George Lynch play quarterback, wow.
Second down and 10. Stephon Taylor on the right side. And Taylor checked down by Tevin McDonald, TJ's little brother. McDonald so aggressive. Tim McDonald's son.
And this is what Jim Mora was looking for. When we talked to him this week, he said the effort last week by his team was fine, but for him, he wants maniacal effort. And he wants that each time because maniacal effort every time turns into what? Your normal effort. That's what he's looking for from his UCLA team. I believe he's getting it this evening.
Third down at 3 of the 25. They 3 of 10 on third down conversions. Here's Taylor.
Great running backs, Charles, always have that forward lead. They know how to get their bodies in that proper position so that when the tackle's completed, they're finishing the run and falling forward as you just described. Remember, Stephon Taylor got a lot of rest 6 days ago. Didn't play after the second series of the third quarter. He should be fresh down the stretch tonight.
First down and 10 at the 21 for Hogan out of the eye. Sprints out of the pocket. Hogan taking his time. Hogan, and he'll be tackled for a loss. Anthony Barr right there. Gus Johnson, Charles Davis, Julie Alexandria, Petros Papadakis. This is the Pac-12 championship game on Fox between the UCLA Bruins, winners of the South, and the Stanford Cardinals, winners of the North. The winner to advance to the Rose Bowl. Second and 11 to the 22. Hewitt and Taylor in the offset eye. Delayed handoff. Stephon can't turn the corner. And Jordan somewhat with the tackle, but the flag on the play. This kid looks like he likes playing football.
He does.
Holding by the offense, number 76. 10 yards. Replay, second down.
A lot of pads popping on this play. Jordan Zumwalt. CD, did you see how he took on Ryan Hewitt? Ryan Hewitt is 6'4", 248. He's a big, strong man, but Zumwalt.
And UCLA's playing the fundamental physical football that Lou Spanos, the defense coordinator, and Jim Mora, the head coach, have been trying to instill since they took over this program. Tonight, they're a little bit quicker to the football, and they're arriving with a fury.
Second and 21. And this is Hewitt. Hewitt gang tackled after 6-yard pickup.
You know, last week, we knew how important the game was. UCLA wanted to win the game. But midway through the third quarter, things weren't going so well. And I don't think the kids quit by any stretch, but they had a safety net, right? Last week, they knew they were going to play in the title game. They were already locked in. It's just a matter of, do we go to Oregon or do we go to Stanford? So, no big deal. But tonight, this is like the flying Melendez, man. There's no safety net, all right? This is all out, and we're seeing the best of UCLA throughout 4 quarters.
Third down and 15 to the 26. Stanford needs to go to the 11 for first down. Hogan has got to make a play. The Virginian put that one on the money.
Isn't that a great TV show? Virginian, the guy didn't even have a real name, right? He was so cold-blooded, they just called him the Virginian. And he just puts a dagger in the corner of the end zone to Terrell.
Extra point up, and good. He's got that it factor.
That it factor, which is instincts and talent, as defined by his head coach. Look at that. The touchdown pass to Terrell. 26 yards for the clincher.
3rd and 15. We're tied at 24 in the Pac-12 championship game. Cardinal put together a sensational drive, converting on a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 3, and a 3rd and 15 for a 26-yard touchdown. Bruins will bring it out of the end zone. Devin Fuller. And Fuller, a flag thrown late, is dropped at the 15.
During the return, holding by the return team number 41. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
But boy, do we have a battle right now. 24 apiece. 11:15 to go. In the Fuller. The handoff. Franklin. Stiff arm. Flag on the play. Alex Carter, who they have high hopes for here in Palo Alto, making the tackle.
That's another call for Sean Hockley, the referee.
Holding by the offense number 60. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, first down.
Guns Jr.'s arm's going to be sore by the time this is done tonight.
Yes.
He's had to make a lot of calls, and Jeff Bacca gets another penalty.
But as you mentioned, this is very important for both these teams right here from a field position perspective. What happens on this drive?
And the penalty of UCLA sets them back behind the chains, back inside their own 5-yard line, allows Stanford to make a move. Look at 8 penalties tonight. The school record keeps mounting for UCLA.
First down and 14 at the 4, and they're throwing out wide to Fuller. Fuller will get back to the original line of scrimmage. You see some energy from the Stanford defense now.
And that last play call from Noel Mazzoni is something they've been running all night, but it's a little riskier back here because if that pass becomes a lateral and a free ball in the end zone, the defense can hop on it and turn it into points.
Fans on their feet now. 2nd and 9 to the 9. Hundley. Near sideline. He is gobbled up. Fuller gobbled up by Jordan Richards. That's a 3-yard loss.
And you called it. Momentum building for Stanford now. And what it's done because of that penalty by Jeff Bacca, the offensive guard, it's allowed Derek Mason, the defensive coordinator, to get bolder in his calls. Let's go get him. Field position-wise, maybe they can create a big play. A monster 3rd down here for both sides.
3rd down and 12 at the 6. Hundley in the shotgun. And he'll hand it off. And nothing doing. Chase Thomas. UCLA forced to punt it away with 9:50 to go.
And that's a call made. I'm sure the head coach got with Noel Mazzoni and said, let's put it on the defense. Let's not make a big mistake here. Turn it over deep. Run the ball, punt it, and defense see what you can get done.
Jeff Locke punting out of his own end zone to the dangerous Drew Terrell, a Pac-12 punt return specialist. Terrell at the 39. the 43. A 51-yard punt and an 18-yard return. He took the gamble. We've been tied at 7, 14, 17, and now 24. The momentum swinging into the direction of the Stanford Cardinal, who will play with the short field. First down and 10 at the UCLA 43. Young on the sweep around. Young. Oh, what a spin. Oh, what a drive. Kelsey Young inside the Bruin 20. Tevin McDonald held on after the 23-yard gain.
They go Wildcat with Wilkerson at the quarterback or tailback position. Watch him hand it off on the jet sweep to Kelsey Young. Excellent block by Hewitt, 85. And then out on the edge by number 4, Terrell. And that's a redemption run for Young, a big fumble at Oregon.
First down and 10 at the 20. Taylor. And Stephon keeping his feet moving. Donald trying to rink the ball out. Stanford will all 3 of their timeouts. UCLA has 2.
And it seems early to start watching the clock, but Stanford is a team that when they gain momentum, they won't put this ball in dry down. You know what I mean? They want to just mash, take time off the clock, and finish it in the end zone.
Taylor again. And a flag on the play at the 19-yard line.
And who do you think threw that one?
Holding by the offense, number 64. 10 yards, replay, second down.
Sean Hockey League's like a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball tonight. All right, that one goes against Sam Schwartzstein, their starting center. But he's throwing it so much, they're going to have to ice him down between starts. And look right there in the middle, Schwartzstein reaching out and grabbing. Schwartzstein's second team, all conference. Listen, he replaced an All-American center 2 years ago in Chase Beeler, and has done a terrific job. Calls the line, makes all the line calls, helps the quarterback with adjustments, and never has that been more important than when they put Kevin Hogan in the lineup as a redshirt freshman. He can lean on Schwartzstein to help him out.
Hogan is a playmaker, folks. Second and 17 at the 27. Here's Hogan underneath. Zach Ertz going up high. Eric Kendricks brings him down.
Gus, you feeling the pressure of this game? Petros Papadakis. Who's feeling the pressure on the UCLA sideline?
I'll tell you what, Jim Mora's dad is here. It's not a junior-senior because they have different middle names, but Jim Mora has been pacing on the sideline all game. He could make Jello nervous right now. And I asked him, are you okay? He said, this is way worse than coaching. The dad is nervous, guys.
He's probably calling the defenses in his head right now, but he wants Jim to call.
Third down and 8 at the 18. Hogan out of the gun. Hogan in the corner. Incomplete. Randall Goforth defensively.
And I like the fact that the officials let him play through that play. I really do, because look at them both fighting it out. Goforth 3, Ertz 86. No flag, no call. One of you comes down or doesn't with the football. See them locked up, and they kept the flag in their pocket. I like the fact there was no call on that play.
So this is Williamson. Good from 37. This one from 36 yards away. And good. 6:49 to go. Fourth quarter of the Pac-12 championship game. And the Stanford Cardinal take a 27-24 lead. Welcome back as we take a look at the scoring by quarter.
Take a look how UCLA jumped out 7 in the first quarter. Stanford got right in the second quarter. UCLA controlled the third, and now Stanford so far up 10 in the fourth. It has been back and forth all night long, both sides.
Third lead change, 6:49 to play. How will the Bruins respond now? Young Fuller back deep. He's been close to popping one. Fuller from the 1. Fuller. And he'll go down to the 21. First down and 10 for Brett Hundley, the redshirt freshman. Down by 3 with a trip to the Rose Bowl on the line. He'll run it. Hundley at the 30 with a nice side step, and he'll get to the 34. Barry Browning tripped him up.
And they caught Stanford in a blitz and able to step forward into the secondary. He's into the third level of the secondary quickly.
It's a gain of 12. Jonathan Franklin now over the right side. Franklin crosses the first down marker, picks up the first down. Barry Browning again. But a gain of 12 and a gain of 11 on the first 2 plays.
Back-to-back first downs. Watch how much quicker UCLA will go now. Back-to-back gains of 10 or more yards. They tend to hurry things up a little bit.
First down and 10 at the 44. Movement, flag on the play. Here's Franklin. Franklin still running. Jonathan Franklin, and this one will stand at the 41.
Got Chase Thomas, I think, jumping across the line of scrimmage, unable to get back. I think that's what the call is going to be against Stanford.
Offside by the defense, number 44. That penalty's declined. First down.
For Jonathan Franklin, his senior season. The Pac-12 championship game tonight. 18 carries, 198 yards, and 2 touchdowns. First down to the 42. Jordan James in there. Here's James, will run it. And he'll be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Jim Mora brought his team in very well prepared.
Mentally, maybe even more so than physically. Because after last week, they could have easily sagged after what happened to them with Stanford dominating them over the last 3 quarters of the game on their home field. But these kids shook it off. Midnight of that Saturday, Jim Mora texted his team and said, it's over, move on.
35-17 last week in Pasadena. Here's Hundley standing. And Hundley runs right in to Chase Thomas. And that's a 3-yard loss. That's 3 sacks for Stanford this evening, the most sacks in a season by a Pac-12 team in 15 years.
And now the momentum shifts back to Stanford. Let's see if Derek Mason just rushes 3 and drops people into coverage here rather than rush him, and see if Hundley steps out of it.
Third down at 13. Hundley lets it go! Almost intercepted by A.J. Tarpley, and he may have had a touchdown in front of him.
And Tarpley, the reaction, played this play like Ed Reynolds, the safety, would. Falls into coverage. Watch Tarpley 17 right there. He's just going to move to his left with the eyes of Hundley and almost comes up with his 3rd career interception.
David Shaw doing a way back. Lock. And this one goes into the end zone.
You guys had to do those in high school too, right? 1, 2, way back.
The Cardinal at their own 20. Times like this, who's going to make a play, Charles?
And right now, if you're Stanford, that ball goes in the hands of number 33, Stephon Taylor. Heavy lineup right now. Your tailback, let him carry the football. Trust him down the stretch.
They give it to Taylor. And Taylor with running room. Taylor, a gain of 7 on the play. Odigizua with the tackle.
Keep an eye on Stanford's offensive line and keep an eye on what they run with their sets. UCLA going to have to start thinking about timeouts and when they want to use them.
UCLA using their 2nd timeout. 1 remaining. Anthony Barr has been wonderful this season. 12 sacks, one of the leaders in the nation. This young UCLA football team, we talked about it from the beginning of the year when we saw them in practice prior to the Nebraska game, week 2. They were hungry. They were being coached up. They were being pushed and challenged.
And all that has to come to the front now because they will be challenged physically on this drive by the big Stanford offensive front.
Second down and 3. Taylor again looking, and maybe a yard. So coming up on 3rd down and 2 for David Shaw. So reserved, so disciplined, his Stanford Cardinal.
And that's another timeout by UCLA, isn't it? So they should be out. So they've rolled the dice on this one, 4:27 on the clock, to try and get this stop here and get the football back.
A 3rd down and 2 at the 28.
And Stanford changes up personnel again. The heavy package goes out. Standard base football formation comes in. I think they want to spread UCLA out a little bit, get a little congestion out of the middle.
Hogan will run it. They've given a crease. They hand it off. No, it's Hogan. First down, Cardinal. An 11-yard gain on 3rd down and 2.
Look at David Shaw. Pound, pound, pound.
And UCLA out of timeouts with 4:20 to go.
So this ball should not be snapped now. Look at him. Fake it right. See the freeze? Look at everybody at UCLA looking this way. Looking inside. Hogan able to get to the outside. Ball control paramount, right? Security slides down to ensure he doesn't get hit and fumble the football. Now, let's see where they snap the football on the play clock. Should be inside of 4 seconds every time.
Still a lot of time remaining in this game if UCLA can come up with a stop. Does Stanford even think about throwing the ball?
If you do, it's something that's probably got a run-pass option for Hogan with the idea that if he's not entirely wide open, you hold it, and you take it and run it.
Kevin Hogan, the redshirt freshman from McLean, Virginia. Gus Johnson, Charles Davis, Julie Alexandria, and Petros. From Stanford Stadium here in Palo Alto, this is the Pac-12 Championship. The winner advancing to the Rose Bowl. 2nd and 9. No timeouts for UCLA. Taylor, and he's jumped from behind. Dato Jones. And now a 3rd down and long. Here's where the chess match gets very interesting.
Don't forget this, Stanford doesn't have their normal punter. Daniel Zaklinski got hurt last week. So Ben Ryan, a youngster, might have to come into the game and punt the football away to try and help the field position if Stanford can't pick it up here on 3rd and long.
3rd down and 9. Hogan in the shotgun. UCLA desperate to get off the field.
Took too long.
Before the play clock expired, timeout Stanford, their first of the half, 30-second timeout.
And that came from the bench. David Shaw saw the play clock winding down. They didn't break the huddle until there were about 11 seconds left in the play clock. Protecting his redshirt freshman quarterback, called the timeout.
2 timeouts remaining for David Shaw and the Cardinals. No timeouts for UCLA. Biggest play of the match thus far. 3rd down and 9 for Stanford at the 40. Hogan looking underneath. Guaylomo, no. Tevin McDonald breaks it up. The clock stops at 2:25, and the Cardinal will punt it away. Now remember, UCLA almost blocked the Stanford punt last week, and the Bruins blocked 6 kicks in the 2 weeks before that. A field goal and a punt versus USC, and 2 field goals and 2 punts versus Washington State.
And on the one they almost blocked, that's the play Zaklinski got hurt, which means Ben Ryan is punting tonight.
Stanford gets it away. Shaq Evans lets it take a bounce and out of bounds inside the 20. First down at 10 of the 19 for Hundley. Looking for a screen. Hundley Brings it back and tripped up by Shane Scove after a 2-yard gain.
Remember, no timeouts for UCLA at all. That means first downs and sidelines act as their stoppage in play.
2nd and 8 at the 21. Huntley to the sideline. Caught. Fuller trying to get out of bounds and can't. Where do they need to go, Charles, to get in Fairbairn range? A flag on the play at the 13.
He made a 48-yarder last week to increase his confidence.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Late hit by number 93 of the defense. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. First down.
Costly penalty by Trent Murphy.
Ball's gone, and he takes him to the ground. Sean Hockley right on the call. Has to throw the flag on that one. Quarterback's being protected.
So first down at the 41. Breathing room. No timeouts for the Bruins. 1:41 to go. Hundley pumping. Hundley looking. Now he'll run and dive forward to get to the 45. Chase Thomas there.
Use Chase Thomas as a spy on that one.
Where do they need to go to get in Fairbairn range?
Well, for Fairbairn, as I said, 48 yards was his long of the year. I think he can kick it up to about 50-52. 35-yard line.
2nd and 6. Hundley unleashes on top. Incomplete. Fourier, the intended receiver. And that brings up 3rd down and 6.
And that's a big play by Uswa Amanum, number 15. Look at him. He's not seeing the football, but he read the eyes of Fourier and the hands of Fourier. When they went up, his hand went up between them to help knock the ball away.
Hundley has to be more decisive when it comes to tucking it. If he sees a crease, he's got to go and get the first down. 3rd and 6. There he is to the sideline. Oh, goodness. Jonathan Franklin drops it. And it brings up 4th down and 6.
I wonder if he took a peek and saw Terrence Brown coming for him, because that would have been a heck of a collision near the first down marker.
4th and 6. Pac-12 championship on the line. Do or die here for UCLA. Who's going to make a play? Hundley in the gun. The redshirt freshman. Hundley looking. Hundley caught. Fourier. First down Bruins. And he flips it and gets to the 40. What a dangerous play. Jerry Johnson holds on.
Fortunate. All he needed to do was possess the football. They had the first down. Clock would have stopped to set the chains. Tried to do more than was necessary.
Fairbairn warming up. They're close to his range. They need 5 yards. And with 47 seconds to go, Hundley spikes it.
And remember, we're making an estimate on Fairbairn. That 48-yarder he hit last week, that one had some range on it. You're hopeful that his confidence is up now after making that. Because remember, when Jim Moore had him kick it, that was to give him confidence.
Remember how he started his year at Rice.
A lot of extra points blocked. And remember, he didn't make a field goal until last week, over 36, 35 yards until this past weekend.
2nd down and 10. Hundley delivers, caught, and out of bounds by Devin Fuller. So now you would think that Jim Moore Jr. is in Fairbairn range, but he wants more.
And what a lot of defense coordinators do when you're guarding the 35-yard line for field goals is this is where they increase pressure and decide to bring people at the quarterback. Let's see if Derek Mason does it. He's played coverage all the way downfield here. Let's see if he changes up on this snap.
Let's see if Hundley takes a shot. Hundley underneath. Incomplete. Jerry Johnson, the intended receiver. And now Jim Mora will send the field goal unit on. Kaimi Fairbairn, a freshman, folks, from Hawaii. Last week, against this Stanford team, he kicked the season-long 48-yarder, his only attempt. This one will be from about 51 yards away for the tie. 2 the best snap. And Stanford in the victory formation. The Stanford Cardinal will advance to the Rose Bowl. For the first time since 1999, young David Shaw, masterful. And a hard-fought effort by Jim Mora's UCLA Bruins. Stanford, 11-2, winners of the Pac-12 North, and the Pac-12 champions. They're heading to Pasadena. And the missed field goal.
And it was a tough snap. And Jeff Locke did a nice job of getting it down, but it might have thrown the mechanics off of the young kicker. Because oftentimes they see the extraneous and don't just see going to the field goal point and kicking the ball. Everything was off just a little bit, unable to convert. Stanford wins it all.
27-24, what a game, folks. The Pac-12 championship as the Stanford Cardinal continue their amazing run. 7 consecutive wins. And let's take a look at tonight's Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, diamond moment of the game. And once again, it goes to Jordan Williamson.
Now, 2 out of the last 3 games, they've needed him for the big one. He did it in overtime at Oregon. He did it at home here against UCLA to win a Pac-12 championship. He can let the Fiesta Bowl go completely now. That hat he's worn, let it go.
27-24 the final. Stanford, Pac-12 champions. And on the sideline with the victorious redshirt freshman quarterback, here's Petros.
Talk about leading this team. You're 4-0 as the starter. What kind of ride has it been down the stretch for you now, clinching a Rose Bowl berth?
It's been unbelievable, this ride. I've got great teammates around me that make my job a lot easier. You saw that play by Drew to tie it, and that was all him. And, it's just a great feeling, great for our seniors. They've brought our program this far, and it's nice to be able to go to the Rose Bowl.
How much tougher was this UCLA football team the second time around? It feels like they really took it to you.
Yeah, they had a great plan. Their defensive coaches did a great job preparing them, and, made our jobs a lot harder on those third down pass plays. Their corners and safeties, took away our tight ends and took away the flats. But, in the end, I can't say enough about our squad.
Congratulations, Mr. Hogan.
Thanks.
You deserve it. Gus?
The Virginian in his first 4 starts, all wins against ranked teams, and he's heading to the Rose Bowl. 27-24 the final, the celebration just beginning.